Hi everyone, I'm Zoidberg, and welcome to UKGN Network's 10 greatest Xbox launch titles. Just 20 years ago, Microsoft were a company known for PCs and Office software, more specifically Windows. Then, in March 2002, they muscled their way into the console market as the Xbox arrived in UK stores. Looking like a breeze block and weighing about the same, this was the first step on a journey that has seen many ups and downs in the nearly 2 decades since. The Xbox 360 and Xbox Live were both smash hits and changed how we view gaming. Kinect and the Xbox One reveal, less so. At the time of recording, we're on the eve of the Xbox Series S and X, and thinking about what exciting new games we're going to be playing on our shiny new toy come November the 10th. But for this video, we're going back even further, looking at the games that helped launch the various Xbox consoles. These games were chosen by the entire UKGN Network team, and we're not presenting them in order of quality, simply in order of release, starting with the original Xbox and ending with the Xbox One. Please feel free to disagree with our choices, and tell us in the comments what your favourites were. Number 1, Fusion Frenzy. The job of some launch titles is to demonstrate features that a new console can offer that the competition cannot. Fusion Frenzy's job was to highlight the fact that the Xbox could cater for up to 4 joypads, without the need to buy extra equipment, which was double that of the PlayStation 2. It's a futuristic themed party game where you can take on your friends at a selection of 45 minigames, all spread across 6 different zones. If you think of it as a cross between the Crystal Maze and Gladiators, you're pretty much halfway there. It might not have the instant appeal and characters of something like Mario Party, and as you'd expect, the minigames are a mixed bag. The good ones more than outweigh the bad though. Twisted System and Sumo remain firm off its favourites. With the right group of friends, it can be an absolute laugh riot, and thankfully it's still playable today on Xbox One and looks better than ever.
I'm reading a lifeboat beacon over the next hill. We should check to see if there are any survivors.
Number 2, Halo Combat Evolved. We simply couldn't talk about Xbox launch titles without talking about Halo Combat Evolved. Bungie's calling card not only announced the new console as serious competition for the PlayStation 2, but it's also a landmark title for console gaming as a whole. Before Halo, all first-person shooters on console were pale imitations of their PC counterparts. Just look at the PS2 version of Half-Life. But here was a game that PC owners were finally jealous of. Many of the game's features, like the regenerating shield and the way that vehicles handled, have gone on to become industry standard in the FPS genre, and Master Chief has become the unofficial mascot of the whole of Xbox. Of course, none of this would have happened if the game itself wasn't an instant classic, and although it's had a shiny new paint job via the Master Chief Collection, the original Xbox version still stands up very well today.
Good to see you, sir. I thought we were the only ones who made it off the
Number 3, Jet Set Radio Future. Having Jet Set Radio in the launch lineup sent a clear message to Sega fans, who had watched as the Dreamcast was discontinued a year earlier, that the Xbox was going to be their new console. It led to a steady stream of other Sega titles that were exclusive to the console, like Panzer Dragoon Orta, Atogi and Gun Valkyrie, meaning that this is arguably the most important game in this entire list. The bright, colourful cel-shaded graphics look as good today as they did in 2002, and in gameplay terms it's great fun to skate, jump and grind your way around the various districts of Tokyo-to. Of course, the music plays an important part too, because as you play, the excellent soundtrack will burrow its way into your brain. For some gamers, this will also be their first experience of Xbox, as some early consoles came bundled with this and Sega GT. And the game's influence can be felt in modern games too, including the likes of Insomniac's Sunset Overdrive. Number 4, Oddworld MUNCH'S Oddysee. Oddworld caused quite a stir at the time of its release, simply because the previous 2 well-received games had been strongly connected to the PlayStation system. So it was quite a coup for Microsoft to have this game on theirs, as well as a blatant attempt at enticing gamers over to a new system. The game itself attempted to bring all the distinctive gameplay and delightful world building of the Oddworld series into a 3D environment, and while it's not entirely successful at everything that it attempts, there's still enough here that does work to make it well worth playing, not least the game's 2 central characters. Abe, the hero of the original games we already knew about, but Munch, the last of an amphibian species being hunted to extinction, managed to be even more endearing. Learning to get the best out of their respective powers leads to some enjoyable encounters, and it's all wrapped up in another great story that you'll want to see through to the end.
Just sit tight, be cool. Yeah, whatever.
Number 5, RALLISPORT Challenge. Released just a week before the UK console launch in the States, RALLISPORT Challenge impressed Microsoft so much that they threw it straight into the day one lineup on this side of the pond. With gameplay that leans more towards the Sega Rally end of the racing spectrum than Colin McRae, it offers a sizable career mode to play through, taking in 4 different styles of racing: rally, hill climb, rallycross and ice racing. Each requires a slightly different approach from the player, and has a selection of cars with different handling characteristics for you to master. What makes it stand out the most though, is just how fast and smooth it is, providing full 60 frames a second gameplay and a split screen option for up to 4 players. Developer DICE once again proving themselves capable at setting new technical benchmarks for others to try and follow. It really is a shame that they've not made any more racing games since this series.
Easy right into long, medium left, tighten.
Number 6, Condemned Criminal Origins. There are always hidden gems in a launch lineup, those games of which we had zero expectations, and Condemned Criminal Origins was definitely one such title. Developed by Monolith, who had proven themselves adept at horror with the release of Fear on the PC, and published by Sega, this serial killer thriller had a perfect understanding of just how much atmosphere counts when crafting that perfect jump scare. There are moments, particularly in the early levels, when you simply don't want to carry on, as it's that tense. An emphasis on hand-to-hand combat made the gameplay feel different to the majority of other first-person games around at the time, and the detective elements, where you had to use a selection of gadgets to investigate crime scenes, offered a welcome change of pace. A disappointing sequel that put too much emphasis on combat, and included an unwanted multiplayer mode, followed 3 years later. Number 7, Geometry Wars Retro Evolved. What began life as a hidden extra in Project Gotham Racing 2 became the perfect game to promote Xbox Live Arcade at the launch of the 360. Geometry Wars Retro Evolved is a pitch-perfect slice of arcade action, and the game by which all other twin-stick shooters have been measured to this day. Racking up scores and posting them on the leaderboards for the world, and more importantly your friends to see, became incredibly addictive. It was also one of the first games to show off these newfangled things called achievements, which were designed to extend the life of a game with extra challenges for the players. The pacifism one in particular, which challenged you to get through the first minute of the game without firing a shot, and is not as easy as you'd think, was so popular with players that it formed the basis of an entirely new mode in the sequel. Number 8, Kameo Elements of Power. Out of all of Rare's productions under the Microsoft banner, Kameo is probably the one that would fit most comfortably on a Nintendo console, and this isn't surprising given its prolonged development, dating back to their time making games on the N64. The extended wait was worth it though. Zelda is definitely one of the game's key influences, as you embark on an epic fantasy quest to rescue your family and locate elemental sprites. The ability to use these sprites to take on different forms gives the combat depth and variety, and also allowed the designers to create some great environmental puzzles. The visuals have all the charm and character that you'd expect from a Rare title, and it has that classic British sense of humour. The main issues with the game is that it took a bit too long to get going, with an opening hour that's a bit of a slog, and overall it's a bit short, but you'll be glad that you stick with it to the end. Number 9, Project Gotham Racing 3. Nothing shows off fancy new graphical capabilities of a console like a driving game, and Project Gotham Racing 3 stood out greater than most. Maybe it's because the Xbox 360 was the first time we'd seen a game on an HD TV, or perhaps it was the stunning recreations of real-life cities that you could race around from a fantastic driver's eye view. Either way, this was a game that made our jaws drop back in 2005. and it's a testament to developer Bizarre Creations that it still holds up well today. The handling is more accessible than a full sim, but it stops short of being an arcade game. The selection of tracks are the right combination of fun and challenging, and the kudos system brilliantly gives you something to aim for whether you're out in front or languishing at the back of the field. It's a real shame that it seems Microsoft likes to pretend the series doesn't exist these days, as none are playable on current consoles. Let's hope that changes soon. Number 10. Ryse, Son of Rome. If you could pick any developer to make a graphical showcase for a new console, then who better than the makers of Crysis? Ryse, Son of Rome was, and is, a true visual spectacle. Everything from the realistic looking armour to the characters' facial animations set new standards, and the stunning environments take in sunlit forests, dark muddy caves and epic castles, and are all equally impressive. It still looks great even after 7 years. What it doesn't get enough credit for though is the excellent gameplay. A deep hand-to-hand combat system offers more than a simple button masher, and ordering your troops forward in one of the game's many epic battles is more thrilling than anything the Dynasty Warriors series has ever managed. Some have accused the game of being too short, but we thought it was just about perfect, leaving us wanting more rather than outstaying its welcome. And that concludes our countdown. Please remember, this is just the opinion of the UK Gaming Network team, and the chances are that if a game isn't included, it doesn't mean we didn't like it as well, just that we like these 10 games more. Give us a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and make sure you check out our Twitch channel by clicking the link in the description. You can also follow us on Twitter at UK Gaming Network. Thanks for watching. I hope we'll see you again soon.